this meeting room upside down.
Danica Patrick is joining us now. She drives the number 10 GoDaddy Chevrolet for Stewart Haas Racing. And Danica coming up to Watkins Glen. No, it's not. Danica Patrick has joined us. She drives the number 10 GoDaddy Chevrolet for Stewart Haas Racing. And coming up to Watkins Glen, Danica, talk about your outlook for here this weekend at this road course.
Sonoma didn't go as well as I thought it would, but it's definitely a challenging track, as I've found myself and heard a lot since then. So we went and tested at Road Atlanta a week or two ago, and it felt really good. And this place has a lot more grip than Sonoma, so I'm hoping that that translates and that we have a better weekend.
Questions for Danica? If you have one, raise your hand. We'll start here with Holly. If we could get a wireless mic. Right over here, raise your hand, Holly. Right there, see her?
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Danica, obviously, if you could just talk maybe about your reaction to what happened with Tony. How did you find out, and have you spoken to him since to get an idea of, how his spirits are right now?
Well, I didn't know until I guess I found out late that night that it happened. Ricky watches all those races, and it's the most exciting time of the year for them. It's on every night for 10 days or so, and so he said that he crashed, and his team is Jason Johnson. I think he was running like third or second, so they were both doing really well, and he said he crashed and he was airlifted, and then later on I had woken up because I can't stay up that late, and he said that he broke his leg. So then we talked to Eddie the next day, Eddie Jarvis, and just kind of kept up with how he was doing, and I've since we went and saw him in the hospital, and he's in typical Tony spirits. He's hassling the nurse and everything you could imagine Tony is, and he has pretty good spirits, but it's one of those things. It happens.
Next question, who has one? Right here, Dean.
Dean McNulty, Toronto Sun. Danica, but anyway, in terms of team, he's obviously owner and leader of the team. What are you going to miss this weekend in terms of Tony not being there?
Well, he's like one of the masters of this track. I called him, the master. I mean, he's won here a lot, and so before we left, I asked for all of his speed secrets. So we'll see if they work. He has a good spirit about him, and everybody that works around him, or doesn't, to be honest, loves Tony. So, he'll just be missed from a presence and a morale standpoint. So I said I'd do my best to keep everybody on the up and up and the season well.
Next question. Raise your hand. All the way in the back.
Hi, Danica. We saw you were up at Rochester for the PGA yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have fun up there? And what can you kind of observe from other professional athletes like that that you can apply to your driving?
That us race car drivers are pretty cool and casual before we have to get out there and do our job, and that we're very fan and sponsor oriented. So many other sports, they get to just kind of keep their head down, and whether they go from practice to the course or whatever. Watching them practice. Hello.
Good.
Watching them. Let's try another one. Let's try this one. But that, it's every sport is incredibly difficult, and it takes a lot to get to the top of any of them. And I've played golf a few times lately, and I'm just happy if I make contact with the ball and get it above the ground by any measure at all, as opposed to rolling it. So, they're very good at what they do, and dang, they're good at putting, aren't they? Man, they make those 10, 15-foot putts look easy.
Let's go all the way in the back. Raise your hand, please, and then we'll go to Marty.
Connie Kirk for examiner.com. Hi, Danica. Thanks for talking to us. Just wondered, do you feel a responsibility of any kind to little girls who watch you race? Or you just race?
I mean, I think it starts off as you just race. I think I'm kind of getting a little bit older now and recognizing how honored I am to be in a position to be looked up to and to have them want to grow up to be like me or to just purely cheer for me. I mean, there's a lot of choices out there, so there's a lot of different sports to look at. So, I do what I can to kind of nurture that or take care of it and, spend time with kids. If I'm ever running about and don't have a lot of time, but I have a little bit, I always try and make sure I pick out the kids and take time for them. So I guess I do feel some sort of responsibility to be to be someone that they want to look up to and a good role model for them, and mostly just not break their heart. I feel like one of the hardest things when you're young is you have this idea of your idols or your role models, and it's so high that it's hard to not disappoint because they've built you up so much. So I do my best to just not let them down, and that if I have a second, I at least say hello or wave. There was a little girl at the golf course yesterday. She wasn't little. She was maybe 10. And her dad was telling her who I was as I was walking by, and I could hear it all happening. It's right behind me, and he had said hello, and so as I kind of turned off to walk another way, I looked over just to wave at her. Like, it would be easy enough for me to just keep walking, and they didn't say anything to me. They didn't try and say hello again or take a picture or anything. But I thought, what, I can tell that she figured out who I was, and she thought that was cool, and so I just turned around to wave at her. She'll have that story now as opposed to me walking away. So just little stuff like that.
Let's go to Marty Smith. Marty, you have a question?
Marty Smith, ESPN. Danica, how do you think it will affect Tony to watch someone else drive his car?
I mean, I don't know, but I think that he understands what happened, and where he is where he is, and I mean, essentially, he watches people drive his cars a lot. He owns a team, and he has the sprint car stuff, and so he watches. He has his own drivers already, so I don't know if that kind of dampens it a little bit, just because of his position of being an owner of a lot of cars, but he really was getting on a roll this season, and so. And especially being at a track that you've done really well at as a driver, I'm sure it's a little bit harder to take that one. But yeah, he's on the road to recovery, and he's just gonna have to keep his head down and get well. And like I said, he was in good spirits, so I'm sure it won't be easy, but I think it probably helps that he owns cars already.
Bob, did you have a question? Could we get Bob the microphone right there, please?
Bob Parker, Sporting News. How much time do you spend kind of analyzing an accident like what happened last week, to learn from it? And also, I was wondering if you had talked to Travis at all.
I definitely think about it. I don't want to make more mistakes, and I know that at least coming off of Loudon for sure into our break that. I just said to myself I was just going to run my own races, and I wasn't going to let anything get to me, and it just is what it is. And I have better days when I don't get bothered by anything, and so honestly, that was how I went into Pocono, and I didn't let anything bother me. If someone was catching me, if they passed me, fine. If I couldn't get by someone, that was just what was happening. So I really felt very calm in that race, and I did call him, I did talk to him, and I felt like it was time to do that, and it was a good conversation, and hopefully we don't have any more issues in the future, and it's not good to crash cars, so I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be in the position to take anyone with me.
Holly Kane had another question. You get her the mic, raise your hand. Holly, please.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Danica, wanted to ask you, and you'll know this because you drive for Tony, but Zippy's indicated, that Tony felt bad because he felt like he let the team down and he let, people down by his being injured. And Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. have said, him going out and racing in these sprint car races is what makes him Tony. It helps the sport. It's a good thing. Where do you kind of fall on that?
Well, I mean, it's not a mystery. He loves racing sprint cars. He has a team. He races them all the time. And, like when we were there saying hello, obviously you get a lot of people on both sides of the fence about, the safety of sprint car racing. But, like I said, beep happens, blank happens. It just does. And nobody at the team is mad or upset. We feel bad for him. And, we all want him around. And there's no, and that at the end of the day, those are the most important people, are the people around you. So none of us are mad whatsoever. We just feel bad for him.
Any additional questions for Danica? Any additional questions? Thanks for coming in, Danica.
All right,
Good luck
thanks.
this weekend. Thank you.